I know you feel this.
Hi everybody!
Happy New Year's!
I be Jason Rose.
I be Donovan Oziak.
We be's the Grizzled Veterans.
Just to remind you, because we didn't introduce ourselves last episode.
Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Ho. H to the O-V. I used to roll cocaine by the O-Z.
Oh,
sorry.
Shit.
Anyway, Grizzled Veterans, motherfuckers. We be back in the 2014.
That's right.
Episode 2-3. The Michael Jordan Legacy episode.
Nice.
Maybe we'll have the
dunk off,
the MJ flight symbol as our avatar for this
sure.
one.
We'll have the dunk off at the end.
Am I close enough?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Donovan got me this new lounge chair for the podcasting room, and I feel like I'm outside like barbecuing and having a couple of beers. Well, I got the beer part down.
You even got a side table you can fold out there.
Oh yes I do. That's awesome. I probably need that because I'm always swatting and moving my hands.
I thought it'd be nice for you to get down on my level.
Might check. Are my sound levels good?
Absolutely.
I feel like I'm far away.
No, I mean it's perfect.
All right.
You got the big booming voice anyway.
I'm excited.
All fresh and new for 2014.
Yeah, if you guys remember last episode, I said that's what I wanted for one of my New Year's Grizzled Veteran New Year's resolutions was I want Donovan to give me a new podcast.
You even got like armrests, the whole bit, man.
And we still haven't got those the munchies and the bonbons though.
Oh well, I'll put out some treats next time.
All right. But anyway, yeah, welcome to it. Thanks for staying with us another year, and another year of us still doing the same sort of thing. Rambling.
Hey, you know what? There's nothing wrong with a little old talk fest.
No, that's pretty much all we're good for these days. But thanks for sticking with us, and thanks for making our year-end episode
our best
last
yet.
122, our best yet.
Yeah.
Like it sort of blew away any of the episodes we've had in terms of listens.
And I mean, I was really happy to get the message from you saying, hey, by the way.
Yeah, and the subscriptions are up, and I think that's awesome. Maybe it's part going to a new site and posting there and putting it on a couple other like social media things and outlets, and who knows, maybe the word's spreading that we're the best at doing this, and who knows.
We know how to talk.
Hopefully that's it. I hope you love us and you stick with us and make it even better year for the Grizzled Veterans.
We will continue to raise our own stakes.
Man, I got a hair on my arm that is like a Sasquatch. It's like a meter long. You ever get those mutant hairs? Like one that'll grow out of your neck or something like that?
I get no.
Oh man, I get it. Just this.
I get the odd fly hair in my nose.
Oh, I get like a just super long mutated hair. Like one in my eyebrow will just be like super long.
I get this one like really coarse hair in my nose sometimes.
What do you yank it?
Well,
you plunk it.
I get the zzz, get the
mine just broke.
in there.
Mine just broke because my shit's like a black forest. And like
I got a couple friends like that.
It clogs up. I don't know. Like my nose, it just bogs those trimmers down.
I think you've got like all fly hairs, whereas I've only got like a couple.
So yeah, I've been working on that. I need to get a new trimmer. As you boys, you grow up, you pass puberty and get well into your 30s. You start to realize that the hair gets a little denser on the body.
Yeah. Well, I'm a little older,
a little coarser, harder to get rid of.
Yeah.
Hair that you never knew would ever come up.
Moles that grow and.
Anyway, so what's up? What do you do? What did you do for New Year's?
I've been playing a lot of stuff, and in fact, New Year's was pretty low key this year because I was supposed to go.
And the weather was awful.
The weather was awful, and that kept me home. I was supposed to go to Brantford and visit with an old friend I haven't seen in about 10 years. And turns out she got sick, and the weather was really not in our favor. This winter's been rough. Every single weekend since the middle of December, we have been hit with some kind of bad snow or something, and it's really, I got into a little accident in December, and I've been feeling
you beat your pants, right?
I've been feeling weird about driving in the snow since that because, I don't have snow tires for one. So
why?
It's expensive.
So, isn't your life worth more than than money and paper in your wallet?
It's kind of funny how it worked out, though. This accident, in a weird way, was a mixed blessing. It turns out that not only do I have a brand new 2014 car now, I also got like a difference check mailed out to me. So,
well, that's good. Here's to getting in accidents.
I was like, this is the weirdest accident.
Everyone go out and just smash your car into the closest person you see. Hopefully you have the same luck as Donovan. If not, too bad.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
So what have you been playing? In between smashing your car and
I've been playing
getting stood up on New Year's.
Yeah. Yeah, that kind of sucked, I'll admit. It was a quiet birthday, too. I finished Dead Space with my buddy Kirk. I've been playing DMC. I beat last night. Grand Theft Auto 5. I've been playing offline and online, and both modes are incredibly fun.
Online too?
Yeah, I've been playing online with Ty and Kirk. We got a little crew running. Java Incorporated.
Java?
Coffee Incorporated. Java's our license plate.
Oh yeah.
Well, we got like on our Halo team. We're like coffee company, and all our symbols on our armor are coffee cups.
That is the coolest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah. So yeah, I've been having a blast with that. I never thought I'd love Grand Theft Auto as much as I've been enjoying it.
I'm gonna wait till I get it free on PS Plus.
So yeah, it's been a blast. And Rocksmith I picked up a few weeks ago, and it's awesome, man. I've been playing more guitar than I've played in a long time, and while having recently reformed a band, it's been a great...
Wild Stallions.
Yeah. Actually, my guitar player came up with an extremely cool name I think we're going to roll with. Muad'Dib.
What Deeb?
Muad'Dib.
Muad'Dib.
Now,
what's that mean?
I guess you're not familiar with Dune?
Well, not since I've grown up.
Okay.
No.
Well, anyway, the main character in that book, the first book anyway, and then the movie, when he becomes part of the planet's tribe or whatever, right? He gets called Muad'Dib.
Okay.
And this tribe uses a special weapon that uses sound as a weapon, and certain words are like power words, and they channel that into this device, and it shoots out like a force of sound.
Okay.
And it turns out that Muad'Dib is like their most powerful word that they can say, and it just turns out that that's his name.
So your band is the band of the powerful words?
Yes. The sound of weapons of sound.
That's cool.
So yeah, I just thought when he mentioned that to me, I just thought that was really cool. I think we're gonna roll with that.
I don't even know how to follow that. I don't know. I don't have a band. I don't have a cool foreign name with the fucked up meaning. I don't have any of that.
You gotta have that shit. Band names are so important.
Oh my god. No, I got nothing.
So what have you been doing?
Well, New Year's was uneventful for me, and like you said, my body is destroyed. You know, Donovan can complain about winter all he wants, but he lives in a nice apartment where he doesn't have to shovel. See, Jason Rose has to shovel his long ass driveway.
I just wait for Mr. Plow to show up
multiple times a day, and so his beautiful girlfriend can get in and out, and the male person doesn't sue me because they fall on their ass. So I have to keep this clean, and it takes a toll, especially when even the small drifts are up to my neck.
Well, when it's blowing around the way it is.
Oh, dude, you have no idea.
I had a drift hanging off my car that was hanging a foot off.
You know what the worst is when you're shoveling? Like, you get a good thing going, but then you hit ice.
Yeah.
And, because that's where the tires...
It just jars your whole body.
Because it's hard to get it right down to the pavement. And if a car goes over it a couple times, it's going to ice.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to ice over. Yeah. So you can't just go right across like that. I hate that. It's just like my big pet peeve. Then I just launch the shovel.
Yeah, I mean, I feel sorry for my mom because she has to do all the shoveling now, and she's got the neighbors helping her stuff too. But
what's wrong with your old man?
He's hurting, dude.
Why?
He's got back problems and everything.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh.
Anyway, we're kind of rambling here.
Well, what am I playing? I'm playing Tales of Xillia. It's a pretty shitty RPG with a great battle system.
And yet, it's funny because it made people's RPG list for last year.
It just shows you there's no accounting for good taste.
Or there just wasn't enough good games in that category last year.
Like, I've heard people say, like, the same people that say Tales of Xillia is great say Final Fantasy 13-2 sucked, and 13-2 murders it in every single way. Like, it is some of the most juvenile Japanese JRPG tropes.
Yeah.
Like, yay, we have to do it for friendship, and nah. Like, it's the most corniest shit. ever. Like, take Ni no Kuni and dumb it down by like 5. Like, it's the worst. But the battle system is great. It's a lot of fun. And the main chick, Mila, she's a really cool character. I admit it. Like, she's cool. The rest of the characters are really, really dumb, and the story's pretty stupid too.
That's unfortunate.
It only cost me $9, but I just wanted to see what
I was going to check it out, but I mean...
And it was sort of a warm-up for Tales of Symphonia Chronicles HD coming out very soon. But I remember Tales of Symphonia, and that just kills this game. It's not a very good game.
I remember trying to get into Star Ocean on PS3.
Yeah.
And I had a hell of a time. I just couldn't get into it because it was like kind of what you're describing.
Yeah.
Like,
well, Star Ocean's better.
Okay.
I'm not saying I don't think the battle system's better, but it's a better game.
Yeah, the characters are really getting annoying to me, like the voices and everything, all the high pitched stuff. And I was like, I thought we were kind of past that, but apparently not.
I don't know.
I mean, I don't play Pokemon or anything like that, so I don't know how squealy things get.
I picked up Blood Dragon 2 on that cheap sale, and I hated it. I sort of told you. The environments run together. Yeah. I only paid $3.
I've dabbled in it. It's kind of weird.
Yeah,
cool.
As far as shooters go, like, there's just so many better shooters.
Yeah.
And
I'll say this. I mean, I like it for its sense of humor.
Yeah, it was fun, and I really like that one track.
Yeah.
That main
there's
theme.
some cool music.
It's a really dope theme. Yeah. But I don't know, I deleted it like right away. I was like, this game's done. I don't know. And other than that, I haven't been playing too much else.
Like, you platinum Resogun?
Yeah, but did I do that before?
I don't think you talked.
Oh yeah, because we didn't record in January. That's right. It's February now. Yeah, Platinum Resogun, and I did it the hard way. And I didn't use the cheap co-op team up thing to get the no continue run. Oh. Because you can, if a buddy joins you or whatever, either online or team up in room, you can, as long as only one of you die and the other guy makes it through, it still counts. Yeah, and then you're revived. Yeah, at the end of the level.
That's a little cheap.
So that's a bug to get through. Yeah, I did it the normal way. Yeah, I started to get really good at that game. It's a lot of fun. I like it.
Cue the We Are the Champions theme.
Yeah. Save the last humans. Love that.
Cool game though.
It is. And yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to get a bunch of games out of the way before Lightning returns next.
Well, yeah, I mean, like I said, I finally finished DMC. Yeah. And I'm sorry, but I got to give that game a 7.
Don and I, we had different opinions.
It's very average to me. I'd much rather play Metal Gear Rising over that any day.
Well, I mean, Metal Gear Rising is a great game. So
Ninja Gaiden. So actually, to compare it to another DMC game, I much preferred DMC 4.
I think you're fucking high.
Much preferred it.
I did not like DMC 4 at all. I really hope they go with a sequel for DMC.
Well, I thought they had some cool ideas, but I mean, I actually thought some of the dialogue was fairly poorly written too in it.
Yeah. Anyway,
but whatever.
Let's get to some new stuff, as opposed to the old shit we're talking about right now. And I don't know, where should we go? Should we go to like some of the Xbox rumors and stuff like that, or should we just go to what's coming out?
When we save the rumors for the end.
All right. Well, let's talk about. Well, let's go with Lightning Returns then.
Sure, that comes out on Tuesday.
Near and dear to our hearts, and
yeah, and I mean I've always been, it's Final Fantasy, so I'm going to be somewhat excited for it, but I was hesitant, building up to this, but as it's gotten closer to launch, I'm really anxious to play this game now.
Why?
Well, I thought, I went through the demo, and I kind of got a good feel for it by the end of it.
Very short demo.
It's a short demo, yeah, but I ended up starting it again, and having gotten used to the battle system through the first one, I was like, okay, now I got this, and the battle system's fun.
Yeah.
And it looks like there's going to be a fair amount of exploration and stuff going on, and
yeah, like it's basically the Majora's Mask of Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
You have 13 days to complete it, and the timer continually counts down. You have different ways to add time, and you can do things, everything in one. I think you could do everything in one game. I don't know, but ultimately, I don't know how much it's going to conclude the overarching story as opposed to be its own thing with those themes. Like, I don't expect it to tie up every single thing, like say a Metal Gear Solid 4 had to for 3 games worth of shit.
Yeah.
This game I think they want it to be its own thing because like not everyone played the first two.
Yeah, but they've also kind of touted as the epic conclusion to the Novella Crystallis trilogy.
Mm-hmm. But I've heard them say in those two inside the square, you know, it's its own thing too.
Right. Well, because it's more of an action RPG setup.
Well, no, I'm not really talking about the style of the game. I'm talking about the story. Like the story, you could play that without playing the other games and still be completely.
Yeah, they've mentioned that.
That's it. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
So, which is rare because a trilogy in the third part you'd expect to sort of be lost.
Yeah.
But whatever. I've heard murmurings that it's disappointing in its story. But whatever. I really enjoyed 13-2. Its story wasn't perfect, but it gets way too much shit for what it was and what it is.
It's a fun game to play.
It's fun, man. Yep. It's way better than a lot of the RPGs that came out. It just is.
Yep.
It looks better. It plays better. The battle system's better.
It's gorgeous.
It is.
1080p and it's beautiful.
Yep. Like there's no other RPGs that look like that.
When I got my new TV, I threw it in just to play it.
Yeah.
I had a hard time stopping playing it because it was just like so gorgeous.
You know, the most important part is the lightning, but you can get a partner.
Yeah, there's
whether you
sections
call them
in the
out,
game.
Whether it's a certain section or whether you can call them out at will.
Stuff with Fang.
Yeah, I don't know how that works, but you take Final Fantasy X-2, dress for your thing, and incorporate it with lightning, but it's all completely customizable.
Yeah,
and you can find your own combinations. I've also watched YouTube videos of guys that have been playing this game for a while and have really mastered the battle system. There's a ton of depth there. You can clear entire bosses without even getting hit if you can time your blocks, your dodges, know how to stagger properly.
Right.
I've watched it. It's really, really impressive. I've
seen a couple videos come up that talk about the snow battle, and I don't want to go anywhere near that because I didn't
want to get any spoilers either.
Yeah.
I tried to avoid that. Well, and here's the thing. I'm a very measured Nova Crystallis Final Fantasy 13 fan. All of them. I tried to go back and play the original, and I just couldn't do it.
No.
I bought it for $9, and the entire corridor. It's just a bad game to me. I really enjoyed 13-2, and 13-2 allowed you to catch up on the story anyway.
Right.
So I'm measured, but at the same time, I am very much looking forward to this game because our consoles are lacking AAA presentation RPGs. Last generation, I say the best ones were all on the 360 with Last Remnant.
It's okay, but it's not great.
But it looks amazing.
Lost Odyssey would be my better pick for that.
Okay, well there again, and Lost Odyssey and 360.
You got to remember too that Lost Odyssey was made by all those former Square guys. Sakaguchi, for crying out loud, the guy that created Final Fantasy.
Yeah, it's a shame that they hate Sony.
It is. I mean, and it's also a shame that they seem to be already kind of dwindling. Yeah,
well, and that's the thing. Let's be honest. There's not a lot of JRPG fans and RPG fans on the Xbox fan base. And if you're only putting your games there now, Last Remnant came to PC later.
Yeah,
and Steam, but by then,
well, that was a Square game.
Yeah. But and they had plans to bring Last Remnant over, and it didn't do well.
Because it didn't do well.
Which it would have sold on the PS3.
Yeah,
it would have sold. But anyway, we're getting off topic. Lightning Returns, I'm excited for, but I'm also excited for it to be over. I want to move on. I want to get to Final Fantasy 15 and see where we go from there.
Yeah.
But I like them adding. They're sort of accepting the faults of the series and trying to make the best of it, from what I can tell.
Yeah.
I mean, whether it's from the DLC, I know it rubs certain people a certain way, I should say, but I'm all for 99-cent costumes that give me Cloud and Yuna and Titus things. I think that's cool because they're not taking the game too seriously.
Yeah.
And if we're dressing up in characters, who doesn't want to dress up as Final Fantasy greats?
Sure.
But
not Tomb Raider.
No, that is, we're cross-branding shit. That's just dumb.
Yeah. So, bring on the classic Final Fantasy stuff. That's cool, but let's stay away from
there's
other
over
franchises.
80 combinations of characters in possible. So even if you don't want to buy the DLC or pre-order to get it, you're gonna have tons of options there. And all the classic Final Fantasy, like you can make a Dragoon, a red mage.
Well, when I did the demo, I was kind of looking through.
Yeah, and like
I picked the Dragoon setup for one of mine.
Yeah, like now, see, the demo sort of drops you right in the thick of things, so you don't really understand the bars and the meters and how it's all set up. Right. So I mean, you're gonna be able to learn that stuff, and before you know it, the game's gonna be playing itself. Like it's not going to be hard to learn. No. And I welcome a brand new. I think
this is going to play like that DLC that came out for like the Lightning DLC that came out for 13.2.
Yeah, which I loved. Yeah. I mean,
when you had to fight Caius.
Yeah, it's an awesome. What was it called? The
shit, what was it called?
Valkyrie or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I loved it. And it was gorgeous. Like, it was, you had a QTE battle, sort of, and then you had the actual fight. Yeah. And then you could unlock to use her in the actual game. I thought it was a great DLC. I like 13.2 a lot.
I do, too.
I do. And, again, it gets just way too much shit. It gets too much shit because people...
I saw a great comment on Game Trailers yesterday where a guy was like, you people are ridiculous. You can't make up your mind what you want to bitch about. I mean, 1 minute you're bitching that you want a 7 remake and all this kind of stuff, and that you love 6 and whatever, but you hate 8 and 12, and it's like this guy was like really on point with how people are so fickle, and they can't really make up their minds, and a lot of the time they're just bitching for bitching's sake.
Well, I'm fine with people that don't like certain games, but I mean, I think people just miss the entire point of what they want Final Fantasy to be. Yeah. A lot of people make the mistake, it's got to bring it back to traditional. We've talked about this before. Final Fantasy has never been traditional. Yeah. It's been anything but. Every game has always pushed the envelope of what an RPG or a JRPG has been known to be. Yeah. Whether it's in a combat system, the invention of the active time battle, tagging characters in and out, different ways to level up. Yeah. There's just tons of things, and never mind the visual boundaries that every game has pushed. Every game is on the pinnacle of visual home console fidelity. Yeah, it just is. And say what you want about all the original game, but it is objectively a beautiful game. You cannot say that's a bad looking game.
Absolutely not.
It's the best looking RPG released this generation. One of the best looking games this generation.
I agree wholeheartedly. I've always said that I thought.
And for all the shit I give it, it's a beautiful, beautiful game.
Yeah, and that's actually one of the reasons I'm excited about Lightning Returns. Is because I'm looking forward to checking out.
But on that note, this game's a noticeable downgrade visually.
It seems to be in some ways.
It's a downgrade from 13.2, which was a very minor downgrade
now, why
from 13.
Is that?
I don't know. I think there's a lot of things we could get into that, would take us a lot of time. That it's more of theory based of what 13 was and what it took to make, and the things that were sacrificed to reach that visual fidelity versus then the corridor comes in. They say they cut a game's worth of content out of that game. Now, is it because they had to put it on the 360 and rather than marginalize the visuals one way or the other or for both, they just decided to cut content and made a very linear game?
Was Grand Pulse supposed to be like twice as big? Right?
Yeah, well, no, I think the game, it had towns. Like there was content that was just cut that showed it. But anyway, I don't know. It's still a pretty game. It just doesn't look as good as the original.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for it. I'm excited for all the costumes and the cool, the bosses. And the soundtrack. I've listened to the entire soundtrack.
Oh, yeah, the whole thing.
Yeah, I've got it. And again, it's all the soundtracks of those games are great. I love the battle themes. I love the overall themes.
Oh, I thought the music was fantastic. I miss Uematsu. But
I do too, but I think this team's done a wonderful job. I think they've captured the essence of what Final Fantasy is, but transformed it into a new way. Yeah. Not to say I wouldn't like it to go back and do some more, but all the music's its own thing. Final Fantasy VIII
it fits the game.
And Final Fantasy VIII's soundtrack was very progressive. Yeah. For what it was. Who's to say that sounded like Final Fantasy? It's all different. So I'm excited for the game. I'll definitely. I encourage everyone to give it a shot. Like, if you play RPGs and stuff, this is a very different take on Final Fantasy.
Yeah, this isn't going to be The Witcher 3, but it's going to be. Yeah.
But
worth investing some time in.
I think the battle system they initially planned, that was sort of really. Fans were on both sides of the fences with that battle system from the original game. But I think with you just controlling one character, I think this is the ideal situation for that combat system. I really think it's going to be able to shine, I should say. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, and
and rather than paradigm shifts, the costume changes take that.
There's a lot of special effects going on too. There's a lot going on the screen.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be cool.
Which can bring us to
the end of the month. Something else that comes.
Do you want to talk about Castlevania? I think we talked a lot about it.
Well, there's been a lot of press coming out about it.
I guess let's just do it real quick. It's because it's probably it's probably my most anticipated game, at least the first half of the year.
I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I don't know. If this game is as good as it feels like it's going to be, I don't know what's going to be better this year for me personally.
Yeah, if they can capture that old school Castlevania feel with the Lord of Shadow's soul that was in the first game, I think they have a recipe for complete success. And I think there's a lot of hype getting behind this game, which is, I'm surprised because Lords of Shadow did okay.
Yeah, but it took a lot of people would diss it.
But I think it's hard to deny the quality. The quality was there.
Yeah,
100%. The soundtrack has really captured a lot of people, and I think it captured the Castlevania tone. I think it's the first. I've said this before on the podcast, but Castlevania Lords of Shadow really is one of the first pillars of Castlevania is a pillar franchise of gaming.
Sure,
it's from the NES.
Yeah.
And those franchises have such a tough time moving to the new gen sometimes because
I totally think that Lords of Shadow was the first truly successful 3D take on Castlevania.
It was. I did like Lament of Innocence.
And I'm not saying those aren't,
but Lords of Shadow is a much better game.
Yeah, and I really find it strange when people say that Lords of Shadow doesn't feel like Castlevania.
Yeah, I don't get it because I don't think they played a lot of Castlevania.
To me, it feels like
Castlevania.
Yeah, it's got everything.
Everything. I just feel like they haven't played it enough because it's very, very much Castlevania.
Yeah.
With also being its own thing. I don't know. I'm definitely that's my big game.
Yep.
Right now, I'm going to be struggling this month because I really, really want to play Lightning Returns, but I'm a sort of a completionist. Yeah. I'm weird like that. It's hard for me to pick up another game when I'm in the midst of another game.
I know.
Because I don't like to miss the story beats and I don't like to convolute the controls. 1 minute, you've mastered the controls on one game, and then you go to pick up another one, and then you go back to that game, and it's all fucked up.
I can tell you, I was playing Dark Souls last week, and then I went online to play GTA with Ty, and I kept hitting the wrong buttons for everything.
Yeah.
I was doing Dark Souls.
Plus, you do a little puff, so that even that confuses you a little.
Sure,
bit
but
more.
You're
like, my hands don't work.
We did this one mission where I was supposed to we had to destroy cop cars and cop the paddy wagon and all this shit, and I was crouching down instead of throwing grenades and all this kind of stuff. It was pretty funny.
Like Castlevania, anything else?
For this month, this is a rare thing for me to get 2 games in 1 month. I haven't done that in a while.
But real quick, I missed that on the Lightning Returns. The best thing I'd seen was that the 16-bit trailer for the Lightning saga, and they put everything in chiptune, and it was about 9 minutes long, and that's what I meant. I meant to touch on that when I said that they're not really taking it too seriously, and they're admitting the faults of sort of the story.
Sure,
they're making fun of themselves a little bit, and that thing is just brilliant. It's so well done, that 16-bit little trailer and story.
The music.
I guess they put a ton of work into that.
Yeah,
and they worked alongside Sony to do it.
It was a cross thing. The guys in the States were working on it. And
say what you want about Square, that shows you the bit of the old Square is still there.
Yeah,
and I loved it. Everyone loved it. Everyone who was even a fan who hated all these games, they all loved it. But it also harkens back, and this goes hand in hand with our Castlevania talk. I wish they could still do the big AAA games that come out, the gorgeous tech. You know, I want to see Final Fantasy 15 in all its glory, because everything we've seen from that, my jaw just hits the goddamn floor.
Yeah.
Like, I think it looks phenomenal. The Leviathan shots
in the background.
Oh my god, and everything's moving. Oh my god, it looks insane.
Yeah.
If they can capture that, I don't know what to say. I'm not going to go into hyperbole right now, but that could be just the greatest fucking thing since the wheel was invented.
Yeah.
And yeah,
as we jizz everywhere.
Yeah, just it's like Final Fantasy 15, my first blowjob. I don't know what was better. But I wish, you know, release those games, but also give us our old in that style, you know, the chibi style art with the 16-bit charm, the Final Fantasy of old.
Well,
give
indie
us
developers are making games
even
like
if
that.
Even if you do them as like chapters and sell them to them as piecemeal, like $9 for a third of the game, then you work on another third, and that comes out for another $9, and you go like that. If that's the way they want to do it, I'd much prefer a full game, but that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And a lot of people do them in Tales these days, you know, and it works like that. But give us that art style.
What kind of using like the Walking Dead?
Yeah,
kind of.
Yeah, like a way of releasing.
Right.
If you'd like, I mean, that's just a suggestion. But give us both. And then in Castlevania, people were sort of lament the fact that where are the old school Metroidvania Castlevania, like Symphony of the Night, Aria of Sorrow, that were on the Game Boy Advance and the DS. Like, why have they disappeared? You don't have to do one or the other. You can do both. I want my Lords of Shadow, and I want my 2D scrollers on XBLA and PSN.
Yeah.
I mean, I gladly pay $15 for one of those a year, with trophies and achievements.
Yep.
And then every 2-3 years, you give me the big home console release for $60.
Yep.
Money in hand, easy sales. And I mean that maintains
everybody's
the brand.
happy.
And it's not the same thing. It's not redundant. It's not like Lords of Shadow. It's like you get the same product, that Castlevania brand, but it's fed to you differently. I wish they would just do both.
Yeah. I mean, you and I were kind of talking about you know, the aesthetics of Final Fantasy games a little while ago, and one of the things I said was that I'd like to see them actually try to adapt the art style, like from the original concept drawings, and try to turn that into a graphical style.
Almost like what the Amano pictures,
like trying to
and a watercolor style.
Yeah, like could you imagine a whole game built like that? It'd be like playing through a painting.
Yeah,
it would be.
I think it'd be gorgeous,
stunning.
But I mean,
instead of trying to go for this hyper realistic character design and everything, why not step away from that and try something different?
I'm all for new styles, and I mean,
we both agree that Square makes some of the best looking games when they put their hearts to it. But
every one of their games pushes the envelope of what visuals are known. They're some of the best. Just like them and Metal Gear are always on the cutting edge of visuals. They just are with every release.
But you know, why not try something different?
Yeah.
Not worry so much about making things look super realistic.
Yeah, because you're right, and I think the more with how much hardware we have with the next gen, everything's going to look good. Mm-hmm. But it's going to be those unique art styles that set games apart.
It's like El Shaddai.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't really play El Shaddai.
I haven't.
But I'll give props to it for being.
Its art style is gorgeous.
Yeah, exactly.
And its tone and its world, it tries to mesh so many genres. I mean, not entirely successfully all the time.
Right.
It's such a fucking weird game, but I loved it. I did, and the soundtrack is very, very cool.
Okay, I should probably give it another try.
I paid $19 for it.
Yeah.
Like a couple years. I should loan it to you.
Yeah.
Play it. It's worth playing.
Sure. I tried the demo and it was kind of weird.
The demo wasn't a good. Yeah. Just like most demos.
Yeah.
Like the Lightning Returns demo is an accurate representation of what the game is.
Right.
Like it's throwing you into the fire and it's so convoluted. You're like, If you'd never picked up any of those Final Fantasy 13 games, you'd be like, okay.
Well, because Adam told me he tried it and he was kind of like, it didn't do much for him.
No,
right?
because he doesn't play them. Yeah. Like
well, he hasn't even played 2 yet. You know, like he finished 13, but he didn't play 13
and that was
yet.
What, 5 years ago, 6 years ago?
I think he actually just beat it last year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, whatever. But most demos aren't accurate representations of the
absolutely.
game. That's why I think demos, they need to really be careful what they release.
Yep.
And I don't think enough companies actually pay attention to what they are releasing. And it gives you a negative impact on the game.
Yeah.
I remember Kingdoms of Amalur did that to me. I thought the demo was terrible.
Right.
And it was buggy, and I didn't buy the game.
But the game's actually pretty
And
cool.
because
It's not
they-
without its bugs.
And because they didn't buy the game, they crashed. You know, they crashed and burned.
Oh, yeah, well, anyway.
3A Studios, the entire reason they closed was because I didn't buy the game.
One sale. You guys missed that one sale.
Well, let's on other stuff that's coming out. Let's just touch on Metal Gear Ground Zeroes.
Sure, because that's coming out next month.
Yeah,
And I think you and I have both... we're both excited for Metal Gear, but...
dude, it looks okay. Let's start with the positive.
Yeah.
Because there is negative.
Yeah.
And we've talked about it, but the positive. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, there's no denying the thing looks fantastic. The tech is you know, brand new and it looks fantastic. I can't wait to actually see it and play it for
so
myself.
much style. And when you press like to confirm a mission, like you can hear him in the helicopter and the menus just go on. He's smoking his cigar.
Yeah.
And when you press it, it hits that like, and then it goes into the mission, right?
Yeah.
It's just so much style. And
I'm sure that
there.
playing through it is going to be fantastic, and then it's going to be over. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I mean, I want this game so much.
is it only going to be that one base?
Don't know. No, there's side missions, but who knows? Excuse me. I don't know. There's conflicting reports on the length. Okay.
Yeah.
Some people say 2 hours. Then there's other people that say it isn't, and it's longer. Kojima himself released a tweet, and he said there's so many different ways to do things, and I don't know. He's
They
more
just
of a-
keep exploring the game.
Yeah,
is
keep
basically what he's
exploring
saying.
it. But my main concern is that I think Kojima's under so much pressure to make money for Konami
That too.
that they have sort of forced him to release this. And this is the first time he's had to do this. Like Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 both have prologues in the main game. Like the tanker mission in 2
Yeah.
and the virtuous mission in 3.
Yeah.
But these were sold separately. And I really think this is damaging the product because
I agree.
I mean, I'm not going to buy this thing at $40. I'm
No.
just not. And
No.
and my hope was like, well, it's not my hope. I know this thing will be a part of the finished product. It's when Phantom Pain releases, which we'll get to in just a second, when that happens, it's going to be a part of the game because you can't just have a janky thing like that. This is just, it's basically a paid demo.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Well, and I mean, you can make the argument that some people bought Zone of the Enders just to get the Metal Gear Sons 2 demo.
Yeah, but Zone of the Enders in itself was a good game.
Yeah.
And yeah, they probably did buy it for the Sons of Liberty.
Well, I mean,
demo.
Kyle Bossman actually did an episode about that a couple weeks ago.
And it was a wonderful
And
demo.
he was talking about how he's really excited for Ground Zeroes, despite, you know, and people were kind of surprised by that. And I was like, well, there's no reason not to be into, like, being excited for this game.
Sure.
I'm still excited for
I'm
it.
incredibly excited for it, and it looks phenomenal. But at the same time, I'd prefer to get kissed before I get fucked.
Well,
and I'm not buying this.
Well, and my thing is that, like, and I think this is what might happen, is that most people are going to play it, and then they're going to think they're done with it.
Well, that's it. Like,
How many
it's
people are
very,
actually
very
going to play
confusing.
through it 5 times?
It's so confusing.
Yeah.
And like now the rumors are Phantom Pain isn't going to come out till holiday 2015. That's the recent rumor that I read today.
Yeah.
Which boggles my mind. Okay, what do you release this for? You release it to gain momentum. This serves as if you could turn far more people off by price, by a negative reaction to the game, to confusion. All these things could turn people off the final product, and I think they run the risk of doing far more damage than they think this is going to do good for them.
No.
Which is a shame, because I think there's a lot riding on this game, and I think it's going to be fantastic when it comes out.
Sure.
But when? I would much rather they did not release this and just released it, like, finish the Phantom Pain. Like, because it's obvious they've deviated a lot of work to finish this Ground Zeroes demo to release as a retail thing.
They probably had to change their schedule to
Well, yeah, I mean,
accommodate
they've
this.
obviously taken away work from the finished product of the entire game. And, like, why? I mean, if it really is rumored, if the rumor is true of 2015 holiday, like, that sucks. That's 2 years.
Almost 2 years. Yeah.
Like, fuck that. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Like, fuck that. I don't want to wait 2 more years for Metal Gear Solid. Since it's announced, that's been almost 3.5 years.
Well, and not only that, but I mean, like,
That is 3.5 years.
when he says Phantom Pain is going to be hundreds of times bigger than Ground Zeroes, it sounds like that's going to be pretty true. So again, when I made an argument on Game Trailers a couple of weeks ago, I said, why would I want to pay $40 for something that's hundreds of times smaller than the $60 product that's going to come later?
That's right.
And, I had people making the argument about, like doing it different ways and stuff like that. But I'm sorry, but I'm going to stick to my point. When you've basically told me that the $60 game is going to be hundreds of times bigger than the $40 game.
Yeah, I don't like it. It doesn't sit well with me. And although I understand it, how many people are going to be confused and are confused by this? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. It never has. I don't know what to say. Like, as much as I want to play it, I'm not going to be buying it. I don't know.
Well, we'll find out in March if he eats his words.
Until then, I'll just watch that glorious trailer. It looks, that trailer looks so good. With the singing in it? You remember that?
Oh, yeah. Anyway.
In his eyes. Then, what is it? Kiefer Sutherland comes in, Gus, I am in hell, or whatever.
Yeah.
Speaking of Kiefer Sutherland, real quick note, they're bringing back 24 this year, right?
Yeah, I heard about that.
May.
Yeah, I
love
wait.
it. 24 is like
I watched the entire series, man. I love 24.
I watched it years ago.
Yeah.
Loved it. I got Raquel to watch it.
Yeah.
Like a year and a half ago, and she watched the entire series.
Yeah. I watched every episode, man. I never missed one. It was great. Love that show.
And real quick, one last thing. Thief PS4 comes out, and I'm liking a lot of what I'm seeing.
I've been talking to a few people that are
a lot of people, like, I've seen some, like, you hear the old school fans of Thief talk, and they're like, oh, the environments aren't as big. It's not like, okay, you know what? Like, this isn't 20 years ago or like 15 years ago. You have to streamline games these days. You can't just throw people with punishing mechanics and a massive world or like each level. You just can't do that anymore. That's not the way games work. And from all token, like, they're like, oh, they're taking the Dishonored way. But from all accounts in the previews, that the environments are bigger than Dishonored. And I'm perfectly fine with that because I love Dishonored. I prefer a more focused, what do I want to say it? A laser focus to my environments. Like, I want multiple ways to do these things because it is a stealth game.
Sure, yeah.
But you can't have a crippling, punishing scale for, like the old games. You just can't do it. The game looks beautiful. I like the way they do it. It has so much style in it. And then there's a hub world.
Okay. That guy at EB is really excited about it.
I think it looks on PS4. It's going to be gorgeous.
Yeah, and he's actually really excited about playing on like the super hard difficulty, or like.
Well, and that's the other thing for all the old defense. There's so many ways to modify the game. You can take the UI completely out. You can take the focus mode out, so there's no way to like slow time for the short thing.
Okay.
You can make the game just as hard as it always has been, if you so choose. So I don't. There's no reason for you to complain about this at all.
So be excited.
Please be excited. I think Thief looks fantastic. I really do.
Cool.
I guess we can get to the Xbox rumors and the Titanfall release now.
Yeah.
The leaks and rumors and
rumors. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff that came out. The NeoGAF forums were like on fire.
Well, on that, I want people to understand, like, I've been on these video game sites and got to know some of these things. No one breaks more news and sifts through rumors and shit like that than NeoGAF. They are the best place for news, rumors, tech specs. They do everything. They found out when all the major outlets weren't capturing footage properly, and they were trying to say like the Xbox One, the PS4 footage was the same, yet they didn't understand that they weren't capturing footage at 1080p because the thing that they were getting wasn't outputting the resolution properly.
Okay.
And all the people on GAF were like, no, this isn't right. So finally, and all the people came out like on IGN, on GameSpot, on Polygon, and they're all like, no, you guys, this is, and they took this hard like bravado stance on it. And they're like sort of talking down to people. And then not a week later, they all had to eat crow and admit that it was all their video feed was fucked up and it wasn't properly done.
Wow.
And all these people on NeoGAF said it. Like, who broke the Metal Gear Solid 5 story at NeoGAF?
Yeah.
Who broke, all this shit? They're the best story. They're the best site out there. For there's a lot of shit there, and it is sort of like I heard someone equate it to like the Star Wars cantina scene.
Oh shit!
Because it is, you never know what you're gonna get. It's a little crazy in there.
Yeah.
But you know what? Awesome is built from a little bit of crazy.
Yeah.
So whatever. Anyway, yeah, like, and that's where these Xbox rumors and leaks.
Well, like,
started.
yeah, and I mean, this is what I was talking to you a little bit about. It was, the possibility of a terabyte system coming out this year, or the diskless system.
Well, I can really see that as a possibility for the Xbox, because the Xbox does not have an upgradable hard drive like the PS4 does. The PS4 is upgradable and it's very, very easy. I did mine.
Right.
I put an SSHD in there, 1 terabyte. It takes 5 minutes. Like, it really does. So, but anyway, let's get to the leaks first.
Right.
There was
Halo 2 anniversary.
Yes. And because Halo 5 is delayed until late next year. No, this is all the rumor.
Yeah,
but that's the reason that they're pushing this.
And it's going to have, like, the Halo 2 anniversary will have a beta for 5 in it, or whatever they're going to call it.
Yes, or like a demo or a beta. Yeah, that's right. A new white Xbox One.
Sure.
And an all-digital one with no disc tray.
Yeah.
Because, everyone expects them to drop. There's a lot of rumors out there that they're going to drop Kinect, to drop the price.
I think that's really a bad idea.
To drop Kinect?
Absolutely. I think it's a dreadful idea, because it's what gives the system its identity, and it also, if they drop Kinect, it's going to make that feature absolutely useless. And I think they should keep it so that developers will do something cool with it, because that's an inevitability that someone's going to do something cool with Kinect.
I don't know. I have a difference of opinion, but either way, I don't know.
I had my first experiences with the new Kinect about a month ago, and I was actually pretty impressed by it. Now, granted, I only spent about a half an hour with the system, but the system instantly recognized that I was a different person from the main user, which I thought was pretty neat. When Adam handed me his controller, it asked if I wanted to switch profiles. So little things like that I thought were pretty cool. I was just standing in the room with him, and I said Xbox on, and the whole thing started powering up, and it was just cool. I just thought it was pretty cool. But yeah, I totally think that they need to keep Kinect in the box so that it stays relevant.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, at the same token, getting rid of a disc tray entirely is stupid.
Yeah.
And going all digital, especially with a 5, even with a terabyte this gen, you're fucked.
Yeah.
A terabyte is nothing.
Well, look at these.
Considering they just released a
13 gigabyte update
patch for Dead Rising 3. Like, come on. A terabyte is nothing. You're going to need at least 3.
It's ridiculous.
By this generation.
Yep. No,
500 gigabyte stock hard drives are it's going to be one of the biggest mistakes.
I thought that from the get-go.
It's just, at least the PS4s is upgradable. No. That's it. Because anyone can put a hard drive in and go buy one. But the other one, what was the other rumor too?
Well, they're doing a Titanfall bundle.
Yeah.
And it actually looks like it might be kind of ugly, because it's a half and half thing. Like half white, half
And this guy, he's really leaked stuff before and been very active.
Yeah, that's
now,
what I heard too.
To add validity to it, Microsoft is trying to find out who this guy is so they can charge him.
Yeah. And they haven't denied that the Halo journey is going to start, they would not confirm or deny Halo 2.
So as a huge Halo fan, does Halo 2 Anniversary HD excite you?
Actually, Halo 2 is a really good game.
A lot of people push that as the pinnacle.
Well, Halo 2 multiplayer is what made Xbox Live it is today.
That's right.
So there's that. But is Halo 2 multiplayer going to be relevant in 2014?
Well, that's it. With so much competition out there for multiplayer, who wants to go back and play an old game? Old game is old, right?
Yeah, but I bought Halo Anniversary and played that, and I had a blast with it, and forgot
you're one of the few though.
And forgot how good it was.
You're one of the few.
That's how
a lot of people didn't really enjoy the new multiplayer take, because it wasn't really what the original Halo multiplayer was.
We didn't play the multiplayer though. We played the campaign together.
Oh, okay. Well, then what?
I'm into Halo for the campaign. I don't really do a lot of multiplayer on Halo. That's actually one of the strongest things about Halo is the story, and that's what basically brings me back to the series, because it is.
My only point is, if Halo 2 Anniversary is their big game for the year, they're in a lot of trouble.
I wouldn't say that's their big game for the year. I hope it's not their big game for the year.
But Halo 5 would be a huge game. And
I think
delayed.
I think it's smart that they don't bring out Halo 5 this year, because you got Destiny coming out in September.
Yeah, but Destiny's non-exclusive though. And honestly, the push
Microsoft
has been toward PS4.
I'm going to steal a little line from Game Chillers, but I think Microsoft wants Destiny to be successful because it's a multi-platform title.
Yeah, but I think the push, people identify that as a PS4 game.
You think?
Yeah. I really do. All the marketing, all the E3s, Bungie's always showed up at PS4, the Sony pressers. Sony's getting the early beta.
Do you think people think it's just a PS4?
No. But I think they identify it as that.
Yeah.
And from what we've seen, the PS4 is going to be the better version. How much better?
Yeah.
I don't know. But it really depends. But, and now, so those are the rumors.
Right.
But I mean, now they're sort of staggering out patches for Xbox One to prepare. Well, one patch was for some functionality that they should have had in the first place. But then they're coming out with a big a patch to add back in or fix the party chat and some stability.
Which blows my mind that stuff like that doesn't work initially because...
Well, they changed it, right? Like the 360
I don't
was
understand
perfect.
Why they changed it.
The 360's party chat was perfect. Then they fucked it all up.
I don't know.
Now they're basically just rolling it back to what it was on 360.
Well, they should have just left it the way it was anyway.
Yeah.
It was perfect, like you said.
So... this is all for Titanfall because, they spend so much money on it. They gotta make sure this shit works and make sure
it's got to launch smoothly, relatively.
And that's it. Like I'm kind of worried for them. Patches. I mean, what's one surefire way to fuck up your entire thing? Release a patch right when your huge game's coming out.
Yeah.
Well,
are they not? Are they? I think they're working closely with Respawn on these patches.
They'd have to.
I think because these patches are kind of specific for Titanfall, no?
Because Titanfall's an online only game.
Yeah.
So. I mean, this has to work.
Yeah.
If they could not afford to have like a launch like Battlefield 4.
Oh no.
They can't. Or they're screwed. And honestly, I'm very, very interested to see what happens with Titanfall. I know the pre-orders are really good for it. But
I think it's going to sell systems.
We'll see.
I think there's a lot of Xbox fans out there that
But the thing is, does Titanfall... See, they're going after the guys who play Call of Duty and shit like that. But are people going to put down the new Call of Duty and the Battlefield to play Titanfall?
I think people are feeling fatigue off Call of Duty, and I think people are pretty excited about Titanfall.
We'll see.
Call of Duty is starting to show its age.
I agree, but people love it. I mean, it's still the most played first-person shooter.
I know that like Halo lost its numbers to Call of Duty, basically.
Halo 4's multiplayer numbers fell off a cliff and fast.
Yeah.
And they never came back.
Right.
But everyone does the thing, those players will play Titanfall, but will keep their interest because it always seems to happen that they'll go to something and then those players go back to Call of Duty.
Well, I mean, there are a lot of meatheads out there.
Yeah, I'm not saying this is the right way to do it. I'm just saying this is what they're counting on, and who knows? Some of these multiplayer guys, they've learned that bigger is better. Big. More people in a match, more this.
Well, yeah,
and the fact that Titanfall's 6 versus 6.
I think they've done that on purpose, though, because
I agree. Hey, I'm not against you, and I'm fine with it. I'm all for development.
I know that there's been a bit of an uproar about it,
and development choices, and they're sort of taking the MOBA, the League of Legends. Thing, with the fodder and things, and that's what these other bots are in the game,
right?
For scoring and fodder and things like that. But I watched some alpha things with the bots, and they're fucking useless. And I was just like, I don't know. And the alpha is supposedly capped at 25% texture quality. But again, there's another rumor that the textures aren't going to be much better in the final product. So who knows?
Yeah.
And like we were saying before we went on air here. This was initially a 360 game. This was initially a last gen game.
Right.
That, or I don't know, at one point in development they decided to move it to next gen, but who knows?
How hard can that really be?
It's a lot harder than you think. And neither of us really know because neither of us do it.
Yeah.
But the architectures are different. They just are.
Yeah, but
and you gotta understand, you have so much art assets in place.
But a 360 is closer to a PC than a PS3 was, and so they. And,
yeah, but the 360 was the lead platform.
And the Xbox One is even closer to PC than the 360 was. So I'm just.
Well,
I realize
the thing is, though,
when you're creating textures for the 360, they're not going to be as good as textures.
Yeah, but the tools aren't in place on the Xbox One yet, or the PS4. That take full advantage of what these are. You're creating stuff and sort of flying by the seat of your pants on this next gen stuff.
I'm curious, when they finally get these systems to be at their full potential, are games that launched gonna start doing things they didn't do when they launched?
No, unless they go back and patch them. Unless they patch them.
Yeah.
But who knows? I don't know. I'm cautious. I think Titanfall is going to be very good, but my biggest concern, if I was a customer paying it, is I don't think there's enough content there for my $60. Because 6 to 8 maps, 3 Titans.
There should be like 15 to 20.
That's what I'm saying, and people are like, this is what other games launch with. Yeah, but other games aren't online only without a single player component.
Yeah.
You know, say what you want about Battlefield, but Battlefield has more maps, more players in them, more destructibility, and has a single player component for $60, okay? Like, maybe Titanfall is fucking awesome multiplayer, but it's still just a multiplayer game. Yeah, they're trying to mesh single player components into that. How that works, we don't know.
I'm guessing maybe it's going to be similar to the way Spartan Ops was in Halo 4.
Oh, I don't know.
Those were like kind of story-based co-op online only missions.
Like, I'm not going to deny I've watched the beta. It's cool. Like, watching you call a Titan really, it's pretty fucking dope. Like, it is. Like, Titan ready. And that voice seems really cool.
Yeah.
And I like the announcer who's telling you to get to certain points to capture them. And again, we don't know what modes are going to be in it. Like, how many different multiplayer modes are going to be in there with that?
Well, I mean, let's face it. These are the guys that made the most successful Call of Duty games.
Yeah.
So,
but you know what? This is my only thing, though. Anyone can capture lightning in a bottle once. We've seen it in movies, the Wachowski brothers.
Sure.
I mean, this happens. Some people can make something and then use that to. Molyneux's done it. Molyneux had, like, you know what I mean? He hasn't really. Fables fell flat in his face for years, but everyone knows who Molyneux is.
Did anybody know that Fable Anniversary came out? Apparently it did. I didn't know it came out.
But one big thing can make your legacy forever. But then you could never do another thing, and people always know you as that guy that did that.
Right.
So,
and it's true. I think anybody that knows who Peter Molyneux is knows that he's the Fable guy.
Well, I mean, or the black and white guy. Like, he was more of known for his PC stuff before he made Fable.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, I think the hype for Titanfall is huge, no doubt, and it will sell systems, no doubt. But as far as longevity and content, and as someone in the know, I'm very cautious about this game.
Well, you're not going to be playing it.
I honestly would have loved to play it if it was a multi-platform game.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, as a game fan and someone that's out there, and I do want this game to succeed, but I look at it as a game that's online only, doesn't have a lot of maps, has the rumor. I don't think the 6v6 thing is a problem, but I don't know how many modes are in it. Yeah. Like, is there domination?
Well, that's what I mean. I think you can count on these guys to come up with a lot of interesting game modes. That wouldn't be a fear for me, personally.
I don't know, but this seems like every new announcement seems to show like a disappointing content-wise in some sort of way.
I guess I'm not paying attention to a lot of the announcements because I'm not going to be playing Titanfall. So
I am, and another thing is, like, all this cloud bully-hoo they promised how it's going to offload processes. Respawn has actually basically admitted that it's bullshit. That Microsoft ran with that entire rhetoric, and they never say anything.
Oh wow!
The cloud isn't doing anything on that fucking game. It's not doing anything. So
they were touting that from the get-go.
No, I know. It's going to do all this stuff. It's not doing anything.
Wow. Okay.
But anyway, you want to talk about Nintendo a bit?
Well, yeah.
There's rumors and stuff.
They just, Iwata's doing his thing again where he's talking about how we're not going to change, but we're going to change. Did you hear about they're potentially going to step into the
iOS shit.
Well, see, that and health.
Yeah.
Health and fitness and stuff like that. And
well, they already tried that. Remember they had that vitality sensor?
Well, they never brought that
would fit
out.
on your finger. Well, I mean, that was their attempt initially, right?
Yeah. I think they're still trying to do that. Decreasing the fat population.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's no denying that the Wii U is a massive disappointment, and it's a commercial failure.
Yeah.
This will undoubtedly be Nintendo's worst console sales-wise ever. Even worse than the 64.
The 64 worse than the GameCube.
This N64 was a massive drop off from the SNES.
Well, I guess so.
I mean, then the GameCube was a further drop. And you gotta understand that this is the third console out of 4 that has been kind of a commercial failure.
Well, let's think about this.
The Wii U was a huge success.
I haven't bought a Nintendo console since Super Nintendo, so what does that say?
Oh, see, I own the N64 and the GameCube.
Yeah, I kind of regret not having a GameCube at this point because there's a lot of great stuff that I've missed out on that came out on GameCube.
There is,
not the least of which is the Resident Evil remake.
Living through the GameCube era could be painful because there's only a few games. If you were only a GameCube owner, it would have sucked.
Yeah.
Because like there was maybe 3 games a year. Like when you look at, I've said this before, when you look at it removed from its life cycle, you're like, oh my god, so many great games on the GameCube. But living through it from year to year, through those 5 years, pretty painful.
A friend of mine had one, and I think I recall a very similar story. And he lent me his, and I got to play Metroid Prime a bit and loved it.
But there's a franchise that I loved, Beautiful Joe. And I wish they'd revive it. I wish Nintendo and
Did they not make 2 games for him?
They did.
Okay, yeah.
Henshin and Go-Go, baby. And like, it was such a fun game.
Yeah.
Loved it.
No, he's cool.
Great GameCube game.
No. Well, they threw him into Marvel vs. Capcom.
Yes, they did.
So that's cool.
But
I like Beautiful Joe.
Here's my problem. You know, they want to move into iOS. This is the rumor. Why don't they take these games that are successful in the 3DS and move them to the Wii U? Why aren't they...
Well, isn't that a rumor as well? Some kind of fusion system?
Because here's my thing. My biggest problem with the 3DS is that almost every one of their big games, to me, all I ever think of is how much better that game would be on a home console or like up-to-date technology.
Yeah.
Like Bravely Default, which seems awesome. But I look at it and I'm like, my god, the worlds and everything could be so much better in the Wii U. Or if they brought it to multi-platform.
But does that not, it's still like, it's not a bad game because of that.
No, but it's marginalized.
Missed opportunity.
Fire Emblem Awakening. Again, an awesome strategy RPG.
Maybe you and I don't have a 3DS, but there's a lot of people out there that play those systems.
But I'm just saying, before you start trying to take these games to iOS, remember you have a home console that's struggling.
But I think the stuff that they're bringing to iOS is going to be old classic stuff, not new titles.
I don't know.
I see them bringing stuff like Excite Bike and shit like that to iOS.
Maybe. I just don't think that's a smart move.
I think they're going to do classics before they do anything new for iOS.
Maybe I'm wrong. I was listening to a podcast recently. It's GameScoop. It's one of IGN's, and one of their personalities was saying it's sort of the same. It was like he was taking the thoughts out of my mind. He's an old school Nintendo fan, but he feels that Nintendo's hardware holds them back from realizing their visions for these games.
No, and like we've already heard from plenty of sources that maybe Nintendo should just get into software now, or and
that's it. But then they counter with, they have more money than anybody. But
maybe they should buy Capcom, things like that.
But you're in the business to make money, not lose money. And just because you have a $12 billion cash flow and bank account doesn't mean you're in it to watch it go to 7 and 6 and 5 as you piss money down the toilet. Like, that's not the way business works. And Nintendo's in bad shape. But
they're not in bad shape financially. They're just in bad shape in the way that the Wii U has failed. I mean, what are the main guys who says it's not like we don't have money in the bank.
I know, but it's embarrassing as a big corporation like that to have.
I think it's really. I mean, Iwata just won't shed his skin and bow out.
Well, all those guys. Reggie, he's the same.
Reggie's an idiot. Don't get me
I'm not a big Reggie fan.
I fucking hate Reggie. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I fucking hate you, Reggie. I think you're a fucking moron. And
some of the listeners give me shit for trying to fight Pactor. And you hate Reggie.
I fucking hate that guy.
Yeah, he's a smug son of a bitch.
Yeah, I've said it before, and I don't need to say it again.
But anyway, Nintendo. Here's the thing: if Nintendo got their shit together and took games like Fire Emblem Awakening, Bravely Default, All the Bravest, these games that are on the 3DS that I can't, they look like shit to me. And they put them on the Wii U in some sort of marginally upgraded thing, I'd probably buy a Wii U tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
but they need to drop the gamepad and drop the price of this console ASAP. The gamepad.
They're not going to drop the gamepad. Iwata is basically saying their goal is to make the gamepad relevant.
It's not relevant. It's never going to be.
So
it's not integral. It's not even integral to any of the games.
Well, he flat out said we're not going to change. We're going to continue to make hardware and software and yada yada yada. And
then then they came out with they're looking for acquisitions and mergers.
Yeah,
and that's strange talk.
Well, I think that's why people were saying, well, they could buy Capcom. Capcom's needing.
I don't want them to buy Capcom.
I don't want them to buy Capcom.
I don't want them to buy anybody.
I want Capcom to succeed on its own.
I don't want them to buy anybody. But anyway, let's get off that. We've beat that Nintendo's not doing well horse for a long time. You know what I'd like? I'd like to come on here and talk about that Nintendo's doing awesome. I want to talk about that.
I would love to. I hate being down on Nintendo. I really do.
Anyway, let's get... This was the main thing. The 2014 stories and predictions for the year. Like, just a couple things. You go ahead.
Well, I mean...
a couple things that you think... Because I recently wrote a blog with a buddy of mine. Or, not a blog, an editorial piece. But what every year has like a theme.
Yeah.
Or
well, I mean, like sticking with what we just wrapped up with, I do think Nintendo's going to announce something. I hope relevant. By E3.
Yeah.
Hopefully that something is coming for the holidays.
In the form of what?
Maybe it's this rumored fusion system or something. That allows the 3DS games.
Do you honestly think that they shit on their small Wii U fan base and just say we're coming out with something else?
A totally brand new system. I don't think they're ready. I don't think they've got one.
But I don't think you can do it. I mean, does that not kill your cachet, which is the few people that have actually supported you?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to just come out and say we've got a brand new console. Maybe that will happen next year. Maybe
we'll see. They're in a tough. They're in a really tough position.
How can they just pump out a new system like that?
I don't know. Their portable systems. Extremely strong, but again, it holds them back.
Yeah,
like that's why this fusion thing with a portable and
well,
home
we've seen
console.
them do it before. Super Game Boy and things like that, and it works. I've said before that there's games that have come out on portable systems that I wish I could play, but I didn't have a home they didn't have on a home console. I've said before that I think that anything that's available on the PSN store should be playable on the PS3, but it's not. That includes PSP and games like that.
Oh yeah.
I think it's ridiculous that I can't play PSP games, like original PSP games on the PS3.
Yeah, I mean there's work into it, but I agree.
There's so many classic games I would, the re-release of Rondo of Blood, all the JRPGs and stuff like that, the PSO games that they've done, the East games, all that stuff. I would buy that all in a heartbeat, and I've seen you pick them all up.
Wow.
And I'd love to play all those games, but I don't have a PSP, I don't have a Vita, I don't have a 3DS.
You should look into getting a Vita.
Maybe.
I think they're going to drop in price.
I'll get a PS4 before I get a Vita.
All right. Well, hopefully you can get that bundle.
Maybe they'll do a bundle like they said they were going to.
Well, for me, I'll use some of the things I already talked about. The PS3 and the 360 aren't dead.
No.
The next gen is out, and it's running rampant. Everyone's all about it. But you know what? You look at the lineup of games that are coming out multi-platform and or exclusive, mostly to the PS3.
Yeah.
We're talking about PS3 and 360 here, but again, the games we talked about. But in addition, there's Final Fantasy X 10-2 HD. There's Persona 5. There's Dark Souls 2. There's even the DLC coming for The Last of Us.
Oh yeah.
BioShock Infinite. All this
March,
stuff.
I guess we get the last chapter.
That's right. All this stuff and way more that I've written down and.
Well, I mean, it's silly to think that just because the new generation has started, that means the absolute end of previous gen.
Well, that's the thing.
Look at how successful the PS2 was after the PS3 launched.
Absolutely.
I mean, we both agree that Microsoft kind of shuns their old systems when the new ones come out strong. It's remains to be seen what happens with the 360, but I do think we're still going to get strong third-party support.
Oh, absolutely. Castlevania, Lightning Returns, and down the list. Dark Souls 2.
And I think next year still we're going to get strong third-party support on those.
2015, hopefully not.
Not crazy amounts, but I still think there's going to be like a trickling of stuff.
My only point is that this cross-gen stuff is hurting.
It's got to end. That's got to stop.
Your big multiplayer games. I know we're not huge fans, but Assassin's Creed, I don't want to see those games held back by the PS3 and 360. I want them to flourish and hopefully realize all that untapped potential in those open worlds on the next gen.
Assassin's Creed, oh my god.
I know.
But I mean, obviously heard about the DLC that became a standalone game.
Yeah, I know.
I'm like, honestly, Ubi, are you gonna wrap up Assassin's Creed so you can stop shoving it down their throats?
They said that they had an idea for an ending, and then they completely recanted that recently and said that they have no ending in sight for it. It's just like a never-ending bullshit spew.
I'm so tired of hearing about Assassin's Creed.
But I'm just waiting for it to be free. I'm not going to give them any more of my money. Yeah. Assassin's Creed 3 was free. Revelations was free. Yeah. I'm just going to wait. Yeah. I'll just get on PS Plus, and that's the way it is. But, don't be surprised by the end of this year that the PS3 still has the best game.
Strong announcements for stuff for early next year, even.
Yeah. And this year, it's a huge RPG year for the PS3.
Yeah, and next gen.
And next gen, yes.
I mean, you got Witcher 3, which everybody wants
and Dragon Age Inquisition. Yeah. I think the Division is supposedly
that got bumped
delayed.
Next year.
Not officially yet, but it will be. I mean,
I thought it was officially bumped.
No, not officially.
No,
that was a rumor.
Well, I'm assuming it's.
I do too, because I look at the game and we haven't seen much from it, and there's no way it's coming out.
The game looks damn cool.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. But that's definitely going to be pushed back. But I mean, you look at like all those games coming out, and I played my PS3 a lot more than I play my PS4 right now.
Well, I mean, come on, let's face it. There's not that much out for it yet.
No, there's not. Thief is my big PS4 purchase right now.
That seems to be at the top.
So, do you have another 2014 prediction?
I also, again, with some of the rumors that were coming about from Microsoft, I totally think that we're going to get terabyte editions of the systems this year. So
you think Microsoft specifically is going to have a revision to their?
I think it seems very likely that that's going to happen.
I agree.
They love to do bundles. They love to do, with the Titanfall bundle. But let's look back at the past. They did a Gears of War bundle. They've done Halo Reach.
Yeah, but
Halo
not this
4.
early, though. I think they're doing it out of
they're doing the Titanfall one. But I mean, let's say for holiday this year that, we get a price drop. Maybe a game included. I
don't think you're going to see a price drop at all.
Maybe $50.
I can almost guarantee it. No, you're not going to see it. What you're going to see is value bundles.
That's okay. So they're going to start throwing in a couple of games.
Yeah, you're not going to get a price drop though.
Maybe they'll do a Halo 2 anniversary bundle or something like that, or whatever the big holiday games we got. Because let's face it, it's still early in the year. There could be some big stuff that we don't know about.
Yeah, but I just think Xbox specifically, with the lack of your ability to upgrade a hard drive,
they have to.
Yeah. 500 gigabytes is nothing. No, it just isn't.
Yeah. So I think that's an absolute inevitability.
Yeah. And I guess my last thing is the cloud technology. It's never have we had something that's so talked about that we really don't know shit about. We don't know anything. Recently, PlayStation with their Gaikai Ventures come out and call it PlayStation Now.
Yeah.
Now their initial venture is going to be backwards compatibility and not.
Well, now we're hearing about the emulation that they want to try.
Yeah,
which I think is better than fucking streaming.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. No one can figure it. No, but it's both. Some people are saying streaming and other people are saying emulation. Yeah, backwards compatibility for the PS1 and PS2 libraries.
Yeah.
And then I don't know how they're going to handle the PS3. Regardless, I don't know how they're going to do it, but I mean that's a pretty cool feature.
Honestly, I would love it if all I had to do was update the PS4 and be able to put my PS2 disc in it and have it emulate.
That's never going to happen. There's no way you're going to be able to just put your disc.
I'm sure that's not going to be what happens, but that's what I would like to have happen.
Because I had another guy again on a podcast, and these people aren't paid to do it. So that's a valid question and a valid concern. But the guy said, would you be able to just put your disc in? And I mean, maybe, but I don't see that ever happening. My concern is, I just want my digital.
If it's just using the emulator, let's say they license PSSX2, which is the PC emulator that seems to be bad. I use it.
Yeah.
I put Final Fantasy 12 in there, and my system chugs on it because it's one of the later PS2 games. So it.
But with this hardware,
with a good video card, and I'm with a PS4, could you not just?
Yeah.
If it's a PC-based system, and you're loading it up with a PC software to play PS2 and PS1 games, that seems simple enough to me.
Mm-hmm. So that in itself solves a lot of the people's concern with backwards compatibility. My big question now is, will I be able to access my digital library of games that I bought on my PS3 with this system?
Right.
Because if I can't, that sucks. It should acknowledge.
Well, does your download history from your PS3 show up on your PS4? Or is it separate? If you go
There's no option to access downloadable history on a PS4. No. There's a library of things that you've touched on. You gotta understand, they're gonna add and modify.
Yeah, exactly.
These
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. That's
both of them. But I mean, so we got the PlayStation Now stuff. How else they're gonna use it? Shuhei has talked about that they could use their cloud for other things and textures or offloading processes. So we'll see where that goes. I mean, there's a lot of potential there. And Microsoft's their Azure, in terms of size, is a bigger system. Yeah. They own more servers.
Okay.
And things of that nature. Huge server farms. But I mean, the promise was to have dedicated servers for a lot of their first party games, and I think a lot of people are really confused about that. They haven't really taken advantage of that at all at launch. A lot of people think that the Call of Duties are running on dedicated servers. They're not. They're not. And a lot of people believed, to the second point, like Microsoft's PR about the infinite power of the cloud making your Xbox One suddenly more powerful. Well, that's just not going to happen. People much smarter than you and I have broke this down, and it doesn't take much. You need basic tech knowledge to understand bottlenecks and latency issues are your biggest hurdles. Our infrastructure and our internet infrastructure simply doesn't support these types of things.
No,
you can't do that type of back and forth.
Everybody's got to have fiber optic or whatever.
Yeah, like maybe in 5 years.
Yeah.
Maybe. But that's not going to happen.
I mean, a lot of people have basically said that Microsoft has built this system in anticipation.
Hopefully.
And a lot of the features...
Fine, but that's not how they're selling it.
Yeah.
And that's not how they're billing it. And it's sort of annoying, and it's the only reason I give them shit for it, because they're sitting there saying, oh, it's going to offload all this stuff and it's going to make your Xbox One so much more powerful. It's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. And we're seeing it, like, they promised for Titanfall. That's not happening. It's just not feasible in the future. But we'll see. I mean, we'll see how they adapt that as the time moves forward. But again, I think we're going to learn a lot more about these respective cloud technologies, and even Nintendo's have a rumor have their own cloud tech. So who knows? We'll see something about that.
It's going to be a very interesting year, on all fronts.
But again, never have we had something that's been so talked about, the cloud, and we don't really know. We don't really know anything hard about it, right? Which is strange.
Well, I mean, I think this year we're going to get a lot of that kind of stuff happening because. We're getting over the initial hurdles of launch. The things are being patched and whatnot, and I mean that's in itself a very kind of strange thing to have to deal with. But I mean, this is the second generation of it now. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I'll be getting one soon, but I'm still. I'm gonna just play the waiting game and see what kind of announcements happen.
Well, that's your right as a consumer, Donovan Oziak.
Yes. And honestly, I haven't missed out on much yet, so...
No, yeah, but I have to admit, there's certain games that just... I played through the Battlefield 4 campaign.
Yeah.
Like, I don't expect... the people that sit there and make fun of these games for their campaigns make me laugh, Like, I don't understand what they're looking for. Are they looking for some transcendent storytelling in a military first-person bro shooter? Are they really? Because you're the joke if you think so.
Yeah.
Like, all I want to do is see a gorgeous game and things blow up pretty, and I want to see awesome guns and environments.
Yeah.
And Battlefield 4 was awesome for that.
Okay.
Like, buildings got leveled. I got to fight massive tanks while they blew the shit out of buildings, and... it was really, really cool to play through it.
Right.
And awesome weather effects and all this stuff.
And you don't care about the story so much.
But the guns handle really well.
Yeah.
Like, they handle extremely well. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I don't know what
you played Killzone too.
I like Killzones a lot too.
Yeah.
Just because I'm not expecting much from it. I mean, is it a great story? No. But is it beautiful and do things blow up awesome and are the graphics great? Yeah. That's all I care about.
Sure.
Like, if I... and do
that's like saying back in the day on Genesis, oh fuck, Thunder Force didn't have a very good story.
Yeah, like, well, I understand. Unfortunately,
that's a really weird metaphor.
Unfortunately, EA and Battlefield sort of dug their own grave on that one because they promised so much when the Battlefield 4 story is really going to make you connect with the character. Just shut the fuck up and say there's going to be a hell of a lot of fun.
Yeah,
like that's
you're going to get to shoot things and blow things up.
It looks awesome because like you're on this aircraft carrier and it's getting leveled and the planes are falling off.
Wouldn't that be great if instead of you getting this fucking bullshit spiel at E3, somebody comes out
so much
and is like, guys, I'm not gonna bore you with shit here.
Yeah.
This game looks really
We're
good.
Not coming out here to build you awesome characters and an amazing world. What we want to give you is a 6-hour campaign that's a hell of a lot of fun and shit blows up awesome.
Like, watch this.
Yeah. Boom.
And it's just...
And that's all it is.
Yeah.
Like, It's great.
Yeah.
Battlefield 4 is great. I played it online. So much fun. And it's gorgeous and it plays well. Like, that's it. I think that's it for...
that's good. It's funny because I actually got a brainstorm for the little song I'm going to put at the end of this episode now.
It's the end of the world and we know it.
That's a good one too, but I thought of something else.
So yeah, thanks for growing Grizzled Veterans along with us. Our baby is blossoming a bit. Thanks to Gaming Enthusiasts for being our new supporter and getting us on other outlets for more listeners to...
Yeah, this is awesome, guys. We really love it, and we're going to continue to do the best we can for you.
Please be excited.
Please be excited for future episodes of Grizzled Veterans.
And yeah, go out and get those new games. Don't sleep on the old last gen. Don't sleep on Lightning Returns. Don't sleep on Castlevania.
And for the love of God, don't trade in your old system when you buy a new one.
Don't do it. $75, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Keep it.
Yeah.
Keep it at home.
Don't ditch your 360 for a PS4. That is the worst marketing I've ever seen. Oh.
But anyway, thanks for listening. I need to get a beer. I need to eat some meatloaf.
Yes, spicy meatloaf.
And that's it for episode 23.
Ciao, Bellas.
Sayonara.
Thank you.